All right, everybody, we're back, and now I'm sitting down with Maggie Atanassova. Did I get it right this time?
Correct.
Okay, all right, good. From Canis Group.
Yes.
Did I get that right this time? Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
Canis
all right.
Group.
Canis Group. All right. So, all right, we're 2 for 2. So
Yeah.
we're off to a good start.
Very well.
The reason that we wanted to have you on, Maggie, is because you had kind of talked to Lindsay and I about the fact when we do this show, pretty much every week we say, how did you get into the event industry? And I'd say 9 times out of 10, someone says, "Oh, I just fell into it. I had someone who, a relative, or I was doing something else, and then I got sucked in, and then I got this, and then I got that." But I actually hadn't heard your story until we were talking a couple of days ago, even though we've known each other for a few years. But you got into this industry on purpose.
Correct.
It wasn't something you fell into. It wasn't something that, a friend of a friend talked you into it. You did it on purpose. So we thought that would actually be a really good topic because we hardly ever hear those kinds of stories.
Yeah.
So if you could kind of start from the beginning a little bit and just tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry.
Yeah, it's true that many people in the industry right now are, kind of fell into it. But I think I see myself as the new generation that come on purpose because I think more and more people are actually studying event management, and that's how they fall in love with it. So that's how it happened for me. But there is some backstory there, where I went to Poland to do some voluntary work, and on the way there, randomly, I ended up spending a day at the Sheraton in Warsaw, where the general manager was just decided to show me around. And she asked me randomly, "So what do you want to do?" And I said, "Probably I want to study tourism, I'm not too sure." And then she said, "You know what, if you study tourism, you actually have to focus on conventions and events." And she showed me a breakout room that they were setting up for an event. And she said, "That's the future for me, of the tourism industry." So I said, "Great, check," right? So I ignored it for a while, but my voluntary service ended up being around events. So I was like, maybe there's something there, randomly. And at some point, I actually saw a call for scholarships in a university that was teaching in Europe, in Greece, event management. And I got the scholarship. And I ended up in Greece studying 4 years, and I stayed a bit longer. Yeah, studying convention event management. And actually, I really fell in love with it. My teachers were amazing. They were really involved into the industry. They were not, just people that, book people, but they were actually active in the industry, and they made sure that we are involved. So already as a student, I came to my first IMEX. It was amazing.
How long ago was that, the first IMEX?
Actually, probably, I don't know, more than 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's been
quite a while.
Yeah. So what was that like? So now you're coming as a student in this, these show floors are big. And I know that it's much bigger now than it was then, but still,
Yeah,
it had to have been a bit of a shock.
Not really.
Okay.
I was prepared for it. And the funny thing was, I was like a groupie, like you go to a music concert and you want to meet the stars. I was like that here because I've studied by, these books were written by professionals that were actually here. So what I did was, I know this guy and I know his name and I know what he does and I really want to meet him. And I did that for so many people. And they were kind of surprised because they didn't expect a student, of course, to know their name and to know so much about them. So it was a bit like, okay, don't stalk me. But it was also a fun thing. I really enjoyed it. I was here for Future Leaders Forum that IMXT organizes. And that's how they gave the opportunity because they sponsored us. And it gave me the opportunity to also go to MPI's European event. So I first went there. I got a little introduction of the industry. And then I went to IMEX. And it was a blast. Really, I still remember it. It was very, very exciting.
And one of the things that always blows my mind about these shows is, and I say this all the time, that every year I meet more people in the industry. And every year, most of them are here.
Correct.
So it's getting to the point, where every 5 seconds you're walking down a hall, it's like, hey, hug, hey,
correct.
hug, hey, hug.
My colleagues here that are coming for the first time, they're surprised of exactly how connected I am to the industry. And I told them, I've been coming for more than 10 years to events like IMEX, and even if it's not IMEX, it's another event, then they're still the same people. So you kind of build your network, and I think that's very specific about our industry. It kind of brings people together. It's still quite small, even though it doesn't feel like that when you see the show floor. Still quite small, so we're kind of very, very together.
It's the biggest little industry,
Correct.
in the
Very well
world.
said.
So even when we go to school for what we're passionate about and what we want to do with our lives, there's still that moment of, okay, what next? Now what do I do? I've got a degree. So tell us what happened next. So, as you're out of school and you've got this degree and you're ready to go into the industry, what was your next move?
Well, that's interesting. Being at Future Leaders Forum, I actually won an internship in Malaysia, which was kind of okay-ish. But then, it was the time that the recession hit. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't the perfect time to get out of school and into the business. So what I tried to do is go back home to Bulgaria. I tried to get a job there, which was not very satisfactory because the industry there is not that developed. And I've already studied so much, I knew so much, and I knew that's not the level that I want, to work at. And what I did a master's degree. It was the kind of natural way out of the situation, go back to school. My master's was not that focused on conventions and events, which was actually amazing for me because I realized that I really don't want to work in the tourism industry. I really want to focus on events. And I was the one student that everybody hated because every time they pointed something else, I said, that doesn't apply to business events and conventions and events, so please mind what you say. And I got some punishment for that. But at the end of the day, I really found what my passion is, and I figured it out. I was like, okay, that's it. It's really, for me, conventions and events. Afterwards, after I finished my master's, I was pretty lucky to find job. IMEX facilitated me for that because I came here. I could see those people that already interviewed me, face to face, so they can see I know the industry really. It's not like my word, but I really know what I'm doing, even though I'm still young in the industry. So that kind of helped them, push them to hire me. It was AIM Group that I worked for 3 years, and then I moved to Canis.
Okay. And so tell us about then that move. So now what are you doing now in the industry?
Currently, I'm marketing communications manager for Canis, where I also do on the side brand management for our original events, which are events that we come up with. We don't have a client there. We just target specific topics that are not well addressed by associations. So in this way, we also don't compete with our own clients. And we try to satisfy a need for doctors for topics that they really need more time to discuss than a single session at the huge conference. So they're a bit more intimate. So I focus on that, doing the branding there and the Marcom for Canis.
So obviously you're still coming to IMEX, but
Correct.
now you're a hosted buyer.
Yes.
And not a student on a
No.
on a scholarship. So what are you getting out of it now? So at this point, now that you're back, you're a hosted buyer. What are the aspects of IMEX that are working for you?
Well, the interesting thing is that before, when I was coming, I was mostly, let's say, as a student, you come and you hunt for jobs. You also try to impress people, but coming now as a professional, I really target my meetings to specific projects that I'm working on or things that I'm looking for. For example, today I had a great meeting about technology because we have a specific pain point with building communities online. So I had a great meeting with a supplier who gave me a list of companies that actually match my needs and they can help me. So that was amazing. That's why I come, to find the solutions, or sometimes just to meet people face to face, strengthen that relationship that we already have.
And then that's one of the things that I continue to say about this show is it's, that level of networking. That so before, while the networking enabled you to get a job, now you're looking for vendors and suppliers, and that still is working for you. That's still getting that networking. So wonderful. Is there anything else you want to tell? I mean, is there anything else that regarding the story, or any advice that you might give to someone who's thinking about maybe going into events intentionally and not just falling into it?
I think it's something important for young people or students that are currently studying, studying event management, they're a bit lost in the situation. I think it's very beneficial coming to event like that and coming prepared, reading the list of exhibitors, trying to understand who comes, who are the buyers even, just mapping out kind of who's going to be there and trying to meet specific people. And any other smaller educational event also helps, because there you have better networking. Of course, depends on the size. If you go to PCMA Convenient Leaders, it's not really small. Can't really meet the people.
Small doesn't mean bad. I mean, we one of the times early on that we met was at the Eventex conference, which was not a huge conference in Bulgaria, and I loved that show. Absolutely. It was a wonderful conference. It was intimate, a lot of fun, a lot of experimentation.
Yes.
In that, so yeah, don't be afraid of the small conferences.
Absolutely, boutique is good as well.
Yeah. Well, and it also sounds like don't be afraid to get involved very early, and even if it's a little stalkerish,
if it sounds a bit weird, it's still fine.
Right, but most people I think appreciate. Someone coming up to them and saying, I read your book or something along those lines, and I just wanted to tell you I enjoy it. I don't think anybody's going to be too offended by that.
I had a conversation last night with someone that I've known since I was a student, and he was on my list of people I should definitely shake their hand. And I told him that, and he's like, I'm really impressed with young students when they come up and they're brave enough even to do it, because nobody knows you, that's fine. You make your own network, and then it works back for you. He gave me a few examples of students that really stood out for him in this way, and then they ended up working for him.
Very good, yeah. So don't be afraid to be a little stalkerish. Introduce yourselves to your heroes and inspirations out there. And then, the other thing that you said that I thought was very interesting was the idea of, it sounded like you started kind of broad in your education and then focused in. So when there is an economic downshift or something like that, knowing where your focus is and knowing where your passion is might help you survive that. But the broad education might help you go into a different direction as well.
Yeah, it also can be an inspiration for something else. Also, it gives you the opportunity to shift, because I came in the industry and the idea was that I'm an event planner. That's my first position started with me being an event planner, and currently I'm marketing communications. So because I studied advertisement and marketing as part of my broader education, that helped me understand it, and also I'm connected in the industry, so I know how to adapt this to this specific industry. So that was very, very helpful. And of course, when you start your career, I think general things would just push you in the right direction. For me, it was I started doing social media on the side. They really liked what I did, so they asked me, "Can you write something to, just to see how it's going to go?" It went well, so it kind of progressed to a full-time position.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and some wonderful advice, I think, for anybody that's out there that's thinking about getting into the industry. So once again, Magdalena, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you back in just a few minutes.